Tony, thanks for your time.
My
your
pleasure.
team is firstly Danny Houghton with that rib that he popped in the derby. How is he?
Sore. That's all I can. He won't be available this week. I can't tell you when he's going to be available. It's just when it's not sore enough to maybe get some assistance of a needle and numb it before he plays again. Now we've got the week off after we play Huddersfield, so that gives him another week. Whether that's enough time for him to make the Leeds game, I'm not sure, but we'll play it by ear. So he'll. I'm not sure what the answer is on length of time for him. Others, probably in order of severity. Jack Ashworth's cracked his thumb, or a bone around his thumb area. He was going for an appointment today with hopefully the option of being operated on today, with a forecast of about a 6-week recovery. He's not answering his phone, so that's good news that he may actually be in for surgery as we speak. So, but that's he's either getting it done today or very close to. The other one that's hit us right between the eyes this morning, really, when I got the full report from Nick Staveley. We first under the impression that he's nipped his cartilage in his knee, a meniscus, and so we thought it was going to be a matter of a 2 or if it's a minor, or a 6 if it's a bit more. Ends up that he's damaged his ACL, and he's going to be a 9-month recovery from time of operation. So it's a lot more severe than first expected, and it was from a rather innocuous occurrence. Team run last week. He was holding a tackle shield for another player to practice his tackle technique, and he just stumbled out of that in an awkward way. And as I said, he didn't think it was that bad at the time, but obviously it's quite severe. So it's a real blow for Nick, and I feel for the young man. He was doing a good job for us and starting to find his feet and get some regular game time in first grade, and had done a very good job for us. So yeah, he's taken the news very, very well and very positively, and he's not going to feel sorry for himself. He's just going to get on with rehabilitating it as best he can and get back as early as he can. But it's a blow.
How will you and the support staff look after Nick? Because to have an injury of that severity so early in your career, I mean, he's handling it well now, as you say, but 2-3 months down the line, he may struggle with that mentally. Oh yeah,
that's why we have welfare managers within clubs, and we have club vicars, and we have all sorts of support staff around, and when we're a pretty close-knit group anyway, both in terms of his teammates as well as the coaching staff. So yeah, the medical assistance that he gets is top class as well. But we'll take care of Nick. We'll make sure of that, and make sure he's well cared for, both in terms of now, 2 or 3 months' time, 6 months' time, 9 months' time. But that's not in question.
Any update on Liam Tyndall, by the way?
Yeah, Liam's available for this week for selection, so he'll be in the squad of 21, definitely. Yeah.
And then, have you got any other returning players?
Joe Cater, back from injury this week, so 3 in, 3 out, and 1 back in, or Tyndall as well. So that's 2. We're just down deficit of 1 this week. But it is what it is, and you crack on with it, and make the most of it, and it's an opportunity for somebody else this week to come in and show their hand as well, and give them for them to have a shot at it.
Has Joe come back out of schedule?
He's about on track. He might be there or thereabouts. He's worked really hard on it, so. But I think it was always around this predicted. He might be a week early. I don't think so. But he's running really well and trained really well so far. So he's certainly put his hand up for a selection.
Danny Houghton being out means that you could go with the side that you had in the second half at Hull KR with Farnley Brown in at hooker. What are your thoughts on that, given the performance in that second period at Craven Park?
Yeah, it's a logical option. So, but yeah, we'll finalise as the week goes on. But yeah, he's played there and started there for us already this year. So yeah, he'd probably be a fair guess for us all to assume that he's probably going to be the logical answer there.
Mm-hmm. Just before we start looking ahead to the game at the weekend, reports coming out this morning about Joe Brown, clubs having a look at him given he's out of contract at the end of the season. How do you rate your chances of being able to keep him beyond the end of this year? Joe Brown. Sorry, I've got the name wrong, Jack.
Oh, sorry.
Jack
I'm thinking I'm missing a tricky. Jack Brown.
Someone else entirely in my mind.
Sorry. So what the question was, bearing in mind that Jack is. Sorry, do you want to start over again and then I'll answer? Yeah.
So you have reports coming out that clubs having a look at Jack Brown.
Oh, right. Other clubs?
Yeah. Given he's out of contract at the end of the year, how do you assess your own chance of being able to keep him?
We'll talk to Jack along the way, and that's his manager's job to get his name in the news, and you guys oblige. You like those sort of stories, and so it's a good marketing tool. And we'll keep talking to Jack and helping to improve Jack. And I thought he played one of his stronger games last week for us, so that's good. And it's probably timing. His manager probably wouldn't have said too much if he had a bit of a stinker this week. But now there's clubs interested in him, of course. That's all. Any player that's off contract for next year with a manager, their managers are talking to other clubs. That's from every club. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go through the list of all the players who are off contract at our place, their managers are talking to clubs elsewhere. All the players that are off contract at every other club are talking to us about their players who are off contract, and then you guys go back and say to their club, the reports are that there's Hull are interested in. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. That's just how it works. So we could go through each one of our off-contract players and say that there's clubs interested in him for next year. We'll work through it and we'll offer contracts, accordingly. And some we're going to be able to keep, and some we won't, and some we want to, and some we won't. But we're in April at the moment, and I don't know how many of my players who are off contract want to get judged at the moment on their form. I think most of the guys who are off contract want to get a bit of form before they, come knocking at the door saying, "Can I have a contract for next year?" It's logical times.
So have you had any kind of conversation with Jack or his manager yet about his
Me?
Yeah.
No. He will talk to my CEO about it, James, and he'll have had discussions there, yeah. But not me personally. Okay. I'm there to try and get Jack to play good without talking to him about whether he's going to get a contract from me or the club for next year.
Thank you for that. Speaking to Herman SAS earlier, he's been chatting about training this week and the fixes that you've been working on defensively. What have you been trying to instill in the team, particularly after your comments after the game to Richard Stead about the team needing to be more desperate in defence?
Yeah, and I thought we showed that in the second half the other day. I thought they were more connected. We were more connected with each other, more desperate to help one another, more desperate to cover for one another. That's what it takes. We didn't win the game. We won a half of rugby league, and that's not enough, particularly when you're down by 28 points. But we got desperate in the second half, and we managed to stop most of the and stem the flow. And it was a flow in the first half. It was half an hour of absolute madness in terms of defence and defensive connection. And you can't win games when you're not connected like that. And at half time they spoke about that and about how desperate you need to be and connect up with one another and cover for one another. And when you do, you can compete. And we competed for that second half. So hopefully lesson learnt, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just goes over in the next week. But I'm hoping that the message is sunk in about that, and we're able to defend with some desperation from the start of the game.
When you look back though, can you put your finger on why the team didn't show that level of desperation and connection, and it took them until being 28-0 at half time to show it?
For sure, confidence is down big time. Yeah. We started the game pretty well and made a stuff up or two. Yeah. When you're doing that and your confidence isn't great, I'm not looking for sympathy about that. It is what it is. We're not on fire at the moment. We haven't been winning games. We've been conceding soft tries. So it's easy for you to lose confidence and make a mistake and put your head down, or when something goes wrong. Human nature. I'll challenge yourself and anybody else. And that's what we've just got to toughen up, so we don't, when something goes wrong, that we don't drop our heads and we fight harder and work harder. And when you do that, you can compete. You can compete with anybody. Even a team that was in red hot form. They were red hot form before we went into that game. They were in red hot form during that game. We allowed them to be, and then we were able to stem the flow. That's a really hard formula. It's a really hard formula in rugby league or any other sport. Give a team momentum and then try to stem the flow. Wow, that's the crazy way to do it, the hard way to do it. But we managed to do that. That encourages me that, if we get our timing right and start to do that from the starts of matches, well, it's a whole lot easier to compete. Doesn't mean you're always going to win, but you compete. Give yourself a chance. When you're allowing 28 points to go in unanswered in a half an hour of madness, you're not going to win too many games. So, but yeah, it's when something goes wrong. These guys, some of these guys are out of form and feeling bad about it. So it doesn't take much for some of them at the moment to have a mistake or something go against them for their heads to be, oh, here we go again. That's human nature. We've got to stop human nature happening. We've got to work that hard and get that determined and that positive, that when those things happen, that they're not going to affect us in a negative way. We're still going through that process, but I'm confident that we'll get there. Most places I've been have that and go through it and get to a point where it's that horrible that you do something about it. And hopefully we're seeing the most horrible that we've seen. Hopefully that's it. We'll see.
What is your work from that psychological perspective? What has worked for you previously when your teams have been struggling psychologically?
Work harder, put your hand up, go front up, go watch it, go own it, go rectify it, work hard to fix it. There's no secret formulas. I keep saying this, and I'm going to say out there in sporting land, and I do it when I watch other sports, and go, why didn't he just do this? Why didn't he do this? It's easy when you say it quick. You've got to go and work hard. we've got to go work hard. We've just got to get more determined and work hard. No, there's a formula in life that's always been: you work hard, you become successful. That's it. You're not prepared to work hard enough, you won't be successful. I'm going to put it to you, all those people out there that have been successful have had some miserable times to get there. They've had to work through it. That's called resilience and developing resilience, and so you do become successful. So along the way, when you get into certain situations, you understand it and you work through it and you push through it, and you know when it's about to come again, so you can push it away. But I'm going to say to you that anybody out there that has been successful and remains successful, you might get a lottery winner, that sometimes has some luck. Go and see them in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, and see where they're at and see if they're still successful. Not often. People who have success and get successful and remain successful and continue to be successful have worked really hard, and they understand that it's all about hard work. Now, we can't sit in our team room when we watch videos and go out on the field, not work hard and expect to be successful. Just don't. And if we're not being successful at the moment, what are we got to do? Work harder. Work harder. And that's the formula. So, yeah, I haven't come up with it. It's not a new one, and it's out there for all of us.
How much does it perhaps benefit your side in a way that they've got less excuses to fall back on now, with the injuries improving, less suspensions? You've now played a game with a full 13.
I don't know about the injuries. I mean, we're not looking for excuses. I don't know if we've got less. I think we're up to 11 or 12 at the moment at any one time. I think we got down to 9 at one stage. That'd challenge most squads. That would challenge most squads, and some of who they are. But that's irrelevant. That nobody wants to hear about all that. It's whether you win or lose. We're going to crack on, and we've got to get to the point where whoever we put out there can handle it. And when we get to that as a squad, we know we're on the right track. We've got to become that as a club. We've got to become that as a club. If we want to be successful, no matter who's on or off the field, we've got to be out there competing and in our systems, working that well in our systems, that it gives us a chance to win games. So that's where it's at. Have there been a lot of challenges? Absolutely. Are there always going to be a lot of challenges? Absolutely. So let's crack on with them. Looking forward to this week. Looking forward to the group of players that we're going to put forward for this week. Bless you. You can sneeze. Achoo! I am going to give you a bit of good news, and I love when a young man works his way into the squad and you get a chance to tell him or ask him, does he think he's ready for first grade? And I've asked the question, he nearly bit my hand off. Logan Moyer is going to be now 21 this week for the first time, with a strong chance of being there or thereabouts. So, that's a good part of the job. Whilst we've got some injuries, and I hate hearing about those for any of, whether they're senior players or young players coming through, that's a hard part of being a coach and being their coach and caring about your players. The good part is being able to tell a young man that he may get his first cap this week. So, yeah, that could be a good part of the job.
What led you to make that decision with Logan?
His enthusiasm. He's a goer. He's great to be around in training. He brings energy. He's full of energy and he buzzes around. And we need some of that energy about, and there's opportunity for him. He's probably brings some level of energy that we're looking for, and he's a cheeky little, in a good way, character to have around, and players like him, training with him. That's a big part of it. So they're all delighted. excited when I told him that he might be part of our squad this week.
And with Logan, you talked after the derby about Jack Charles and wanting to pick and choose the games that you put him in for, given the side's out form at home. Why did you feel this was the right game to bring Logan in?
Yeah, just timing, and he's ready, I think, and it's just the time. It's, he's been on the verge of it, probably on a few other occasions. We picked up a few more injuries, and opportunity arises. So that all comes into the factor.
Huddersfield Giants then 2 weeks on from last playing them in the Challenge Cup. Where do you feel your side are at since then, and where do you feel Huddersfield are at given they've now picked up?
I don't think it matters too much what happened last week. They put out a totally different team, and I think we did as well, a fairly different team, and it's certainly going to be a different team to what we fielded against them last time. I think they'll go and try and do a lot of the things that they did against us last time, and because they were successful for them. So, we're going to have to combat some of those and hopefully make a better fist of some of those areas that they exploited in us. And, we've worked hard on that, and we're working hard on some of the, not only what Huddersfield do, but what any team would do at the moment. So we've got to get our own house in order, in terms of our defence and our connections, and making sure we're sticking to our systems and beliefs about our systems. So we'd like to make a better fist of it this time, that's for sure.
What would you like to see then finally in terms of the performance that would give you and your players a platform to go on? A solid performance where they're all connected up and understanding and sticking to their systems, and they're covering each other's backs like every other week. But hopefully improvement on that. We saw some of that second half last week. I'd like to see that from kickoff. Tony, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Hi Tony. I think, just to elaborate on what you've been speaking about there, there's snippets of what you want your Hull FC side to do. You'll have to look at Warrington, Catalans, the second half last week. How would you get it to stick more often going forward into games?
Belief, get good at it, be consistent on it, and have everybody in the squad doing it. Rubs off. Get people confident in themselves, first of all. In each other, and then in ourselves as a team, collectively. So, all those things they come together, But if any one of those things aren't high, if you're not confident in yourself at the moment, or you're not confident in a teammate at the moment, or you're not confident in the team collectively, that makes it difficult. They're the obstacles, and we've got to knock down those obstacles and give each other confidence and get confidence in ourselves and each other. So that's what we're working on. And I won't say it was. I think last week showed what we can do when we all stick on the same page and go right. Now, some of that might have been fear of a greater score coming from Hull KR, or the embarrassment of getting to that point of 28-0 down that, right, well, we're going to do it properly now. But I thought we did and we weren't picture perfect for the second half either, but we're a whole lot better and a whole lot more desperate, and that's what it takes. We've got a young team. We've got a young team at the start of the year. We've got a younger team at the moment through, missing some of our experienced people. We've got to learn, and we've got to learn quick. That's the gambling going young.
Was it two of those young players, one of which you mentioned recently actually was David Lennon? How close is he to coming back into your thoughts for team selections? He's been on the frisky bit, and he was like 18th man, 19th.
He has. I'm going to say it's been really difficult for Davey and me with Davey. Because I don't think he's played since round 1.
Round 2, yeah, why?
Was it round 2? Okay. He hasn't played much. And he's missed out on, and the point is, whether it's round 1, pardon me, or round 2, he's also missed reserve games because he's been ready for us, just in case, which is, I've got no moaning from him in Groningen, but he is desperate to play. Now, what I've got to weigh up with Davey is whether I play in first grade after so long of not being out, or whether I play in reserve grade first. And reserve grade play Friday, and we play Saturday. So I've got to make that decision in the next 24 hours, really, about where I play Davey. And but when you say about does such and such come into contention, then they're all in contention and have been for most rounds this year. The list on the board, of selection, all of them are being considered.
So, next question then. You've already answered that.
Sure.
Denise Balmthorpe obviously played for reserves a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of fans are sort of questioning what's going on with him. Is it just a case of sort of what you said to us about Jack Charles, just managing him in the right way and making sure he's ready when he steps up?
No, a bit different. It's a bit different. Jack's been knocking the door down, playing well when he comes on in first grade, and also when he plays reserve grade and academy. He's playing really well. I'm not sure that Denive's been able to say to me or any of those fans who want him, maybe think he should be selected to play, that he could honestly say he's earned the right to do that. And we have conversations. He doesn't want to be selected because there's nobody else available. He wants to be selected because he's playing well. At the moment, he hasn't been able to say that. He can't come off a reserve grade game at the moment and say, I'm really happy with my game there. He may do some good things throughout that game, but he's not been happy enough with his own form to really come and say to me, put me in first grade. And he's honest. He's an honest young man, and he wants to be put in first grade because he deserves that right. And he's still got a bit to work on.
Appreciate that. Cheers, Tony. I suppose the challenge for him then is Friday. You're at home against Huddersfield. Take your opportunity.
Absolutely, all of them. I've just put young boy in the squad because he's been playing well. You play well, you get put in the squad and you get considered. If your form's okay, unless we get really bad injury, more than 11 or 12, or in a certain position, or maybe you get called up by default, but nobody wants that. You want to be there for good form. You want to be there because your form is that good and your defence is that good and your attack is that good and you're training that well that, you deserve to be in the team, not when you're a bit off it.